All right, so welcome everyone. Thanks for jumping on. Mike Johnson, the legend, 52 deals in his first year of real estate. Man, Mike, thanks for jumping on. I really wanted to dive in with you and really see how you did this. And so I guess tell us a little bit about yourself to get rolling here. You know, what got you started in real estate and really how's it going now?
Yeah, now everything's going well. I think I got started maybe 4.5 years ago, and it all started with a podcast very similar to this. So I was looking to buy some investment properties, found my realtor off a podcast, Sandy Mackay, Breakthrough Real Estate Investing Podcast. And this is how I remember it. He showed up, sold me a house. I think he was wearing shorts and flip-flops. And then I looked at how much he made after he sold me that house and thought, that guy's living a pretty cool life. So we got a coffee after and asked him one question: how much money will I make in my first year if I do this? And
yeah,
it's funny. Everyone always has the exact same magic number. It's $100,000 for any new agent. I was laughing with someone about it yesterday. It doesn't matter that price points have doubled in the last 3 years. Everyone still wants to make 100, which makes my job as a team lead easy, so we can get people there pretty quickly. So yeah, that moment I signed up for my courses. I was working corporate in Toronto at that time. Probably I would say 8 months later, quit my job and went all in.
Awesome. That's amazing, man. Yeah. And I'm assuming you then joined with Sandy Mackay on his team. How did, I know 52, man, like that's huge. Obviously, 100K, it seems like a lot of money when you're not in the real estate game. Like how did it start? Like, did you have any hiccups starting out, or did you just get down to it and you started doing what you do?
It was all hiccups. I probably went on 50 appointments before I ever signed a listing. Basically what I did, it was Sandy that showed me how to do this. I just sat on the phone and called people all day until someone said yes. Nice. And that was my life for the first year that I was in the business.
Nice. So how many calls were you making in a day to get to that point?
It's funny. I asked that question to a lot of people. How many calls do I need to make? And I couldn't get an answer on that. So I went to my friend Google. It's probably on Reddit or something. I just typed in how many calls do I need to make a day to sell X number of houses. And that told me around 100, you should be good. And from there, I took a course and they would hand out this fancy little pin if you made 100 calls. So that was, in the same way I woke up in the morning and brushed my teeth, I would wake up in the morning and make my 100 calls a day. And until I started coaching with someone who said, that's not enough, bring it up to 150. So that's what I did. And that's when things really exploded. Wow, my goal, my coach, what I told her, I'm in a place right now where I have 20 grand in my account. It's going down every single month. How much lead generation do I need to do? How many contacts do I need to make so that it's impossible for me to fail? And that's what she said. 150 a day, you're solid.
Man, that's amazing. Now, I guess, were you tracking to that point when you started the 150 per day? Were you actually tracking that and you knew your conversions down and everything? Like, so you could predictably say 150 is the number?
She gave me conversions based on her experience with new agents. And conversions with new agents are generally very low. You have an inability to book appointments because you're not well scripted. When you get on those appointments, you have an inability to sign them because you're not well scripted and you don't have experience. That's where the 150 came in. I needed so many appointments because my skill level was so low. The only way to combat that was through booking a ton of appointments. And the only way to book a ton of appointments is to talk to a ton of people. As I was going through that, I failed miserably and quickly realized that not only do I need to call 150 people a day, I need to spend a significant amount of my time scripting and role playing and learning what to say to people when I actually get in front of them. And that's when the magic really started happening.
Yeah, man. And that's when we roll out 8 new agents as well. It's literally master one thing at a time, master what you're saying to get in the door. And then it's mastering what you're saying in the house as well. I guess knowing what it takes to do 150 contacts in a day, how did you stay motivated? How did you keep your mind in the mix of things and just push forward, man? Because That's like, how many hours did it take you to do 150 contacts in a day? I'm sure longer when you started and you narrowed it down.
Yeah, like I was always pretty quick. I've always viewed it as a numbers game. So it's
Okay.
very much, hi, Mike calling from Keller Williams Real Estate. Do you have any plans of selling your house? Period.
That's
And
it.
I'll go quiet, because if you continue the script from there, you're talking to someone that may have no interest. So I just go quiet and see what they say. If it's a no, I'm not interested, I want them to tell me immediately so I can move on to the next person.
Nice. That's so simple, man.
Yeah.
Simple.
But to answer your question, what kept me motivated? It was simple math that my coach gave me. So when I started coaching with her, the number went up. There was someone on my team. So Sandy, I think, did 50 or so transactions his first year. And then there was another individual on my team that did 51 his first year. So my goal, it was not money related. I just wanted to beat those two. So that's where the number came from. I just squeaked in. I think I sold 54 and 2 didn't close. So I beat the guy by 1. But what would keep me motivated? So my goal was to make 170 grand.
Okay.
My commitment was 150 contacts a day on average. I would work 6 days a week. 150 contacts a day on average over 5 days. So I wasn't making 150 6 days a week. It would average out to 750 a week, say.
Okay. Yep.
And I took quite a few vacations that year. So I probably worked 48 weeks of the year for a total of 36,000 contacts a year.
Wow.
Now you divide 170,000 by 36,000 contacts.
Yeah.
That's $4.70 per person I speak to, regardless of whether or not they scream at me. They say, Mike, we love you. Come list me now. They hang up on me as soon as I get my spiel out. $4.70 per call. Doesn't matter what they say. As long as I talk to them and tell them I'm a realtor and ask for the business.
That's awesome, man.
That's what motivated me. Because
that's amazing.
When I was a kid, I worked in a call center for a summer. And back then, minimum wage wasn't $15 an hour. I think I got paid $6.50, $7. So it's like 2 people I talked to, I get paid more than I used to get paid back then. So sign me up for that deal. Awesome.
Man, that's the power of like just breaking everything down and getting clear on truly what it is. It really shines through for you, man. Like, yeah, you're almost 6. What was it? What was it again? 6 something or 570 a call?
470 a call.
Okay, so you're about $5 a call, man. That's insane. Keeps you rolling forward on it. Like, at what point did you start seeing success? Did you, when you're rolling through, like failing forward, that's what I call it, failing forward and just keeping pushing through. Like, where did you start seeing success? But then also now you're listing the homes and you still made those calls. Like, that's where like time management really come in and actually push through that. Like, how did you fumble through that one?
Yeah, so I think success came, I would say, at the 6-month mark. I was off and running, doing anywhere from 2 deals a month to, I think 1 month I did 10 deals, my first calendar year. So it takes a while. I think not a lot of people are willing to wait that long and put in that kind of effort with no results. Yeah. And then so that was question 1. What was your second question?
I guess like, what did you come up against in that aspect? Like 6 months to get up and running. Okay. And then now that you're managing the act of actually handling the listings and doing the prospecting, like, so technically you did 52 transactions in like 6 months, realistically.
No, 12-month period. So I had the first 6 months of my business was nothing. I think I sold 1 house. And then the first calendar year that I was in business. So I'd say by the end of a year and a half, I had done something like 55.
Okay,
deals.
awesome.
And some of them didn't close.
Okay, so you had the ramp up period, and then when you started doing transactions, then you had that 12-month period where you did 52.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but then going back to that side, like, how do you manage doing 52 transactions and actually still keeping your contacts up to where you need to be so you're not slipping anymore? Because so many agents go through this roller coaster, right? that you do deals and then they're not lead generating anymore and they plummet again and they're up and down with that. So what did you do to keep that consistent?
So I think part of it was probably three things I would say. One was coaching. I coach with someone I consider to be quite scary, and that's what I need. I'm a people pleaser, and I would hop on a call with her every single week. And if I didn't hit my goals, I would hear about it in a big way.
Yeah.
Next thing I would say would be mindset. I still to this day don't view myself in the business of selling houses. I'm in the lead generation business, and selling houses is just, it's something I have to do after I'm done lead generating. Lead gen first. My passion is, I could sit on unfortunately I don't have as much time to do it anymore. Now that the team has 10 guys on it that all report into me.
Yep.
But my life would be beautiful if I could just sit on the phone all day. I love doing that. And it's that and going on appointments. That's where my passion lies. Selling homes, it is what it is. Something I have to do. And then I would say the other big thing is time blocking. My schedule gets set once a week. I look at it on Sunday. I direct myself or give myself direction on exactly what I'm going to do and when I'm going to do it. And I just stick to that religiously. I really believe you or I could look at each other's calendars and we'll have a pretty good understanding of how successful each other are and how much money we're going to make this year based on what our calendar says and our ability to stick with that calendar.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it really I think it comes back to really what you choose to master, right? And you could choose to, it sounds like you chose to master yourself and you chose to master your time, and which in turn just actually gave you the benefits of selling 52 homes and going on the appointments and having the business, right?
Yeah. Wasn't always like that. Shortly before I got into real estate, I was a pretty disorganized person. I got through my master's and got a decent job after I graduated. But I was the guy who would need to be at work for 9 and would wake up at 8, rush the shower, not eat breakfast, and get to work by 20 after 9. I read a book. I think my wife gave it to me, Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And
love it.
That book just changed my whole life. I didn't know it at the time, but the simple act of waking up early and having a morning routine changed everything for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in that aspect, I think that book, along with the MREA, would be one that every new agent should read. Did you jump in that Miracle Morning with both feet? Did you do the full Sabres? If anyone doesn't know, it's you're doing a list of activities. Did you buy right into that, or did you just start off kind of wavering a bit on that?
No, I'm a pretty extreme person. So it was all in. I read that book, and that day forward, I've been doing that ever since. And that it taught me the value of structure and preparing yourself for the day. But do you know what? I think even more so than that, it taught me just the importance of reading. I didn't read any books up until that. The importance of reading and the importance of learning from others that are already successful. We're in the year 2021. There are people in this world that have accomplished what I want to accomplish in my life and way more than I ever have the desire to accomplish. All I need to do is read books on them, watch videos on them, reach out to them, enter their world if possible, and clone them. Do exactly what they do. If you have achieved something financially or personally, or maybe with your family that I want to achieve that I have not yet, best thing I can do after this is call you up and say, hey, is there some way I can add value to your life? And normally when you add value to someone's life, they're going to welcome that and invite you in. And I think that's what happened with me with Sandy. He saw the work ethic, and I made him a ton of money in my first year in the business. And since we've been together, and he can't get rid of me now. I'm like a leech, and he's just poured into me so much. And now my goal, he's a fast moving guy. My goal, ever since year one, is now just to stay relevant in his life. Because
Yeah.
I know if I'm around someone like him and I just hang on to the wing of his airplane, I'm gonna end up in a very good place.
Yep. I look at that as like your talent, man. You went into Sandy's world, but also too is like Sandy poured into you, but you forced him to actually expand his world in order to actually lead you and allow you to get to your level. Like you forced him, like talent will push talent at the end of the day to get to where you needed to be. So that's awesome. And now you're running a team within the team as well now. Is that right?
Yeah, so he's off doing his own thing at this point. He just opened a new company that provides all of our operation support. It's called Freedom Reps.
Yep.
So not a lot of that is on my plate. We essentially, MRN, the company I'm a part of, pays Freedom for back-end support.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Sandy's got his brokerage. That's one of the biggest lessons I've learned from him is build your business so at some point you can walk away from it. And that's what I'm doing now. I get bored pretty quick, I would say. I don't want to be doing what I'm doing now in 3 years. I'd much rather give the opportunity to someone else that deserves it.
Yeah.
And continue building out my life and help them build out theirs.
Awesome, man. I love that. That's a wicked principle to live by. I guess, like, what's next for you? What do you see as a 5-year vision for yourself?
It's funny. We talk about this all the time. I think it's important to look out 10 years. Like you look at the most successful people in the world, that like Elon Musk is probably one of those people. Like he's looking out thousands of years, hundreds of years into the future, but I challenge myself to look out 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and it's really hard. I guess right now, my biggest goal is to build leaders within our organization and give them opportunity and provide myself with leverage. I don't want to be there's too many teams out there where the guy at the top just sucks money out of the organization and you get turnover. And I know one thing about this business, there's always the greener pasture of leaving a team and going on your own and earning more money because there's no split. I know it's not as simple as that. Most people that leave a team end up failing. But I want my talent to stay in-house and I want them to be able to earn just as much money within our system or I want them to be able to earn more money within our system than they could on their own. That's what Sandy's accomplished for me. There's no way in hell if I was on my own, I would be making the income I'm making today.
Yeah, absolutely. So how are you keeping talent in the organization currently, and then also like allowing them to make more than they would on their own? Is it providing leads? Is it just the accountability, the growth aspect? Like what would you say is the core piece contributing to that?
So I would say a few things. One is structure. Like we're very diligent about our time blocking. Every day starts at 8 a.m. We have a check-in accountability call. Every morning at 9, lead generation starts, scripting calls multiple times a week. So obviously there's a ton of structure and a ton of skill building involved. That's what I think keeps people around in the beginning. It gets them into production pretty quickly and builds the right habits. And then, from there, I think, I know we're not supposed to talk about KW, but I view it's not KW specific. I've never worked at a different brokerage, but I'm sure Remax, KW, anyone you're at, they have amazing training available. So I encourage my people to sign up for all of that. And it's great leverage for me. They learn a lot, they get in the right mindset, and it shapes the culture of our organization. We also, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's like a third party validation, man. When you really look at it, right? Like new agents coming on, you can tell them everything you want to tell them, but by at least immersing them in different activities that are happening within the brokerage or courses, it's not you telling them per se. It's now a third party validation and saying along in consistency with what you're saying.
Exactly.
Right? That really helps. Yeah.
I think it goes back to what I mentioned with the Miracle Morning. Like the same way I got engulfed in this Hal Elrod way of thinking. Through training, Sandy's made me sign up for it, shaped my mindset and who I am as a person. That's all I talk about all day, every day with my people. But for them to get a different voice and hear it from someone else that accomplishing huge things in their lives, it validates it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
that's awesome, man.
I have more on that. Like there's a lot of fun that goes on, I guess. Like we have a sales contest in place every year. Whoever hits, we take them down to Mexico. This year we're going to Dominican. I think that builds loyalty and increases retention. Always try and do some smaller things. Like we have a meeting after this at 11. We have a contest running right now. Whoever wins gets to go drive Ferraris or Lambos, whatever they choose.
Nice.
Cottage weekend set up. So you spend some time with each other outside of the office, it builds a tight bond. Like these people now, just 'cause I've been on vacations with them and their spouses and done all these fun things with them. They're like family. So I'm not there for the money, or not there exclusively for the money. Money's important. Makes it very hard to leave your family. And then
culture's king, man. Culture's king.
Yeah,
culture will trump the leads and everything, right? Culture will overtake everything if you do it right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then from a growth perspective, we have a profit share model in place. So a third of everything the company nets is set aside into a pot. So we don't touch that. Sandy and myself don't touch that. And as someone grows, so there are metrics behind it. They have to do 30 deals in a 12-month period, take a few courses. They have to take Bold, Career Visioning, Coach Skills Camp, and hire a coach of their own. At that point, they can build out their own team within our organization. And we look at, say it's agent A that's built out their own team, and they have 2 agents reporting into them. If the 3 of them, so the leader and the 2 agents, contribute, say 20 to 25% of the overall team's revenue, they get 25% of that profit share pool.
Amazing.
The reason we've set it up that way is to avoid, it goes back to MREA, I don't want to mess with splits.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about splits. This is the opportunity to make more money than you ever could off splits. Differences with the split conversation, I don't get any leverage and I don't build leaders. This way, I build leaders and get a lot of leverage.
Yeah,
I have this vision in my mind. Sorry, I'm rambling here, but you asked me what's the 5-year, 10-year. We had I don't know if you know him, Chris Suarez, Place Group. So he came on our podcast. He runs the biggest real estate business of anyone I know. I think they do $2 billion a year in volume.
Yeah.
He spends half his year in Costa Rica. So I'd say something like that, 5-10 years sounds pretty appealing to me. But to do that, I need leverage and amazing people on the ground back here in Canada.
That's amazing, man. And it sounds like you guys got some great systems to retain the talent as well as grow it. I love it, man. I definitely want to carve out some more time in your calendar to talk about that. I'd say profit shares specifically alone in the future. But I do know that you've got a meeting here at 11. I'd say, like, let's roll it back a bit to I guess some advice for, I'd say, number one, new agent, how the best advice in order to get started, get going, and not have the roller coaster within real estate. But then also, I'd say the second part of the answer, I'd want to go into an agent that's already been an agent for, let's say, 5 years, that are still experiencing the roller coaster, that still just haven't mastered the control per se that they want to see in a business. So what would you say for those two parts?
So I would say for both of them, win the morning, you win the day. It's a mindset thing. Like I still do this to this day. I'll go out for a run in the morning because if I don't exercise, my day's toast. And I look as I'm running down the street, I look at the windows and I don't know the people that live in those houses, but I know I beat them that day.
Yep.
They're not my competition, but I know the way I'm starting my day is superior to the way they're starting their day because I see lights off. And that gives me motivation. Yeah, there are great books on the benefits of waking up early. There are great books on some phenomenal people that have accomplished amazing things. And a trend I picked up on is that they all wake up early and they all have some structure before they start their day. So that's where I started. And if I could go back, I would do it the same way. In terms of avoiding the roller coaster, I think the fact that I viewed myself always as being in the lead generation business, not the business of selling real estate, has helped me. It goes back to the 5 things that we're taught: lead gen, lead follow-up, script and role play, go on appointments and negotiate contracts. Anything outside of that doesn't matter. Block it in your calendar. Make sure you live by that calendar. If you're on a team, there's a Pareto Principle. I think it applies to most teams. 20% of the people are going to be delivering 80% of the results, or something close to that. At least that's what I've noticed since I've been in the business. So when you join a team, be very cognizant of that. And as you enter the room with your new colleagues, observe them and see who's putting the most numbers up on the board, or who's putting the numbers that I want to put up on the board, and just clone them. They wake up early. They show up at the office at 8:30, you do it too. If they leave at 7 every night, you do it too. It's as simple as that.
That's awesome, dude. I think like so many agents come in, and even I experienced this. They'll come in and they'll start off real strong. They'll get the numbers in. They'll be hitting the numbers on a weekly basis. And at like that 3-month mark, or like 3 to 4 months, they start to tail off, right? They don't really power through and actually start to see the results, right? You even look at hiring ISAs, it's the same thing, right? ISAs is another hard role to master. It's not really hard. I think it's simple. It's just not easy per se, right?
Yeah.
So I guess on that front, like what advice would you give people to push through the noise and push through the constant kind of drag of that, the feeling of just kind of repetitiveness and everything, right? Because it is, repetition will get you there, but it's just being okay with that.
Yeah. I think a couple things. One, it's cliche, but know your why. My why was not cliche at all. It was that I had 20 grand in my account and I was going to go broke if I didn't sell a house. That motivated me like crazy. And I think, you can't speak for everyone, but for someone with my type of personality, there's value in backing yourself into a corner. Like, as my bank account was going down and I left my old career, I was buying rental properties at the same time. If I didn't make it work, it would have been real nasty for me. I see agents, when we interview agents, some of them are young and they live at home with mom and dad. And the question I ask myself when I'm interviewing them is, how does your life change at all if you sell homes or don't sell homes? Because from what I can see, you have a roof over your head, dinner's still going to be served, and not a whole lot's going to change in your world. If that's the case in someone's life, they better have a deep why.
So, and that brings up another question, man, on that side of things too, is like your why coming out into the business with 20K in your bank account, that's a very powerful why. When you're getting into that corner, it's very powerful. What I found in my experience is coming from a similar situation and then getting to a point where you are better financially and you have the savings and you have that comfort level now. Did you switch up your why? Did you rediscover your why? Did you go a little deeper on that to see, okay, well, why else now? Like, what's pushing you forward to get to the higher levels?
Yeah. I would say in the beginning, it was 20 grand, pretty powerful. Then when I built some skills, I got competitive. Why switch from not going broke to surpassing some high level producers first year results. And then really ever since that, I think from there it went to financial freedom. I'm 33 years old now. If for whatever reason I can't do this or choose not to do this, by the time I'm 35, that's my goal. I want to have the ability to sail off into the sunset and
Nice.
never have to lift a finger again in my life. That's
awesome.
been my why ever since, to be totally honest with you. That's selfish. But more recently, since I started building out the team, I want to give other people the same opportunity that Sandy gave me. Unfortunately, the two go hand in hand, because if I give others opportunity, I get leverage. I build a tight relationship with these people because my opportunities made them tons of money. It's allowed them to grow as a person, which gives me my time back.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Potentially allows me to sail off into the sunset.
Yeah. Yep. I wouldn't say, can you hear me still? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's not selfish at all, man. It's your why. It's supposed to be selfish.
Yeah.
Right? Awesome, man.
I have parents. I don't know what your parents did, but they were accountants, and towards the end of their careers, they didn't like it at all, but they still had to show up. It's like, they work for the government, and if they left early, they miss a piece of their pension.
Yep.
But yeah, for me, I just don't want to be in that situation. And I think, like, if now's the time, like, a huge percentage of the money in the world was created in the last few years. And I was cognizant of that. So I pounced and I capitalized. And I think that's going to change. I think some of that money is going to go now, and it's going to become harder. But just because it becomes harder doesn't mean the goal changes.
No, I think when it becomes harder, there's more opportunities that'll come up in the next few years, rather than it will become harder for the average person. But if you're looking for those opportunities, you can have the ability to seize it for sure.
100%.
That's awesome, man. Dude, like this has been amazing, man. I wanted to just thank you again for jumping on here with me. Love to dive into a few of those pieces a little deeper in the future here, but thanks again, man. And I guess number one is how can people get a hold of you if someone wants to get a hold of you and talk about either team wise or just diving into what we talked about today?
Yeah. So number one, thank you for having me. It's been a great conversation and really nice to get to know you. Easiest way to get in touch with me is email. So it's mike@mackayrealtynetwork.com, or I can give my phone number. It's always on me, so may as well. It's 226-792-6385, and obviously on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah. Thank you. And let's catch up again soon.
100%. Yeah. Thanks so much for your time.